Okay, next question is from Bill from Jackson, Mississippi. I went there one time with my parents.
I've been to Grenada,
visit some-
Mississippi.
Have you?
Yeah,
Grenada? Wow.
when I did fashion,
Okay.
there was a mill there.
Really? Okay. I once played golf at Jackson Country Club. Couldn't
Okay.
believe it. I was like a beggar, a pauper.
Okay.
Okay, but the point is, Bill says, love the actors top 10 that we did last
Oh, yeah, we
week.
did the top
What are your
10.
top 5 actresses? And we can also call them, as many women prefer,
Actors top 5, not 10.
female actors. Yeah,
We
top
did
5.
5 last week.
Okay, top 5 female actors, if you will.
Right.
Okay, do you want to start with your top 5?
Okay. Well, I found this difficult because to me, there's way more actors to choose from that stick in my head consistently.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, so
because-
you struggled to get 5 who qualified?
Yeah, I did.
Wow, I didn't.
I did. Only because to me, it's harder for actresses in my world that I think of actresses that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies in a row, they're great. For me, guys, I have De Niro, I have Pacino, I have Kevin Costner, I've got Mel Gibson, I've got Robert Redford. For the women, I thought of a female actress that I liked, and I was like, oh yeah, I like that movie. But when was the next movie they did? Then it goes, okay. So mine is I love old movies, and I have to say, by number 1 would be Bette Davis, because Bette Davis is iconic, and she's played in a million iconic movies.
All right.
The next one is Faye Dunaway, because
Ding,
I
ding,
love
ding, ding,
Faye
ding.
Dunaway from everything, from Bonnie and Clyde to Chinatown to 3 Days of the Condor to Mommy Dearest to whatever.
Network.
Okay, Network.
Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown Affair. Okay, Diane Keaton, because I love Woody Allen.
Okay,
And
I
love
knew you were going to go Diane Keaton.
Annie Hall.
And I can't-
You can't get better than Annie Hall with Diane Keaton.
I can't
and
argue
Sleeper.
with that. Yeah.
And it goes on and
Okay.
on and on. Okay.
All right.
Next one is our neighbor, Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay.
And I love her old movies more than the newer, but for me, you know, Any Wednesday and Sunday in New York are my 2 favorite Jane Fonda movies
Okay.
ever.
She won Academy Awards for Klute and Coming Home.
Okay.
So you
yeah.
got to put those in
But
there.
I love her old stuff.
And then They Shoot Horses, don't
Shoot
they?
Horses, Don't
and
They?
Golden Pond
Oh,
and Barefoot. Did you say Barefoot in the Park?
Barefoot in the Park. No,
Okay.
that's my other favorite movie.
China Syndrome, Julia.
Oh, you can go
Agnes
on
of
and on. And then her
God.
series that
Okay.
she did with Lily
All right.
Tomlin.
Okay.
You know. And then my 5th, this is just, I don't even know. My 5th one, I like Angela Bassett, but
Okay.
but it's hard to find, I can't, off the top of my head, 3 or 4 movies in a row.
She's done
And
a
then
lot of stuff, though.
I like Anne Hathaway.
Okay, you've gone past 5
Okay,
now.
and then my last one is Ginger Rogers, only because with Fred Astaire, every single movie Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire did, Top
just
Hat, Flying
danced.
Down to Rio.
Okay.
She was an actress. What do you
I
think?
know,
She
but
didn't
she danced
speak?
more than
well,
she
of course she had to
acted.
speak a role. She had a script. Anyway, those are mine.
Well, who's your 5th? I think you couldn't decide.
Okay, the 5th one I would
Go
I would say
Angela
Angela
Bassett,
Bassett.
that's fine.
I do
Okay.
like Angela Bassett.
All right, my turn. Number 1 on my list is Elizabeth Taylor, and I know she was
No,
known
that's-
more for her looks, as she was the
No,
most
she's
beautiful
amazing.
actress or
That's a good
female
one.
actor
From
ever.
National
But,
Velvet.
Hey, listen, she won the Academy Award for Butterfield 8.
Yeah,
And
incredible.
You said National Velvet when she was a
She was
teenager.
a teenager,
but,
Andy Hardy movies.
okay, then Cleopatra,
Oh.
then Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, which is one of my
Yeah,
all-time favorites with Paul
absolutely
Newman.
gorgeous.
Then Giant, which is an all-time classic,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Then I mentioned Who's Afraid of Virginia
Yeah.
Woolf. She is a powerhouse in this. She takes it over with her husband Richard Burton,
Yeah.
and she is the driving force of that movie,
Yeah.
which is a Mike Nichols project, and we know Rachel. And Taming of the Shrew, which is Shakespearean, but they brought it
Right.
to the big screen
Yeah.
with Richard Burton. And I can just go on
She
and
even
on.
did Mirror Mirror in
She
her
did.
later
Okay.
years.
She did do that, and she is a force of
She's a
cinema.
legend.
She's legendary. Where she is a movie
Yeah.
star, flat out. When I saw her on the screen, she's the drop dead gorgeous of all time. Where
You know,
just
I once saw her on the street.
you did.
I was on
She always looked great.
56th Street, passing the St. Regis. I think it's 55th or 56th.
Yeah.
And I then became friends with Jose Abert, the
I thought
hair
you were going to
guy.
say you became friends with her.
No, I didn't. But Jose
All-time
Abert,
name drop.
Jose Abert is a
Yes.
famous hairstylist. This is before I met him, but I was walking by the St. Regis, and it was wintertime, and it was dark, like about 5:30. It was getting really dark, and coming down the steps was Elizabeth Taylor and Jose Abert, and she had a white mink coat down to her
She would.
shoes. Absolutely gorgeous.
And she
And you could
looked
almost see her eyes, how
stunning.
those lavender, yeah.
Hey,
The dark black hair.
okay, so she's my number one.
Okay, that's a good one.
You mentioned Faye Dunaway
Yep.
because Chinatown's my all-time
one of your
favorite
favorite
movie, and Jack
movies.
Nicholson's at the top
Yeah.
of my actors list.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I have to go Faye, and you mentioned all of her work, and I threw
can't
in a
get
couple
better.
more
Oh, and
because
gorgeous.
she's another. She's just a movie star,
Oh,
and she
she's a
belongs
star.
in the top 5. So she's
And
number
beautiful.
2.
Oh.
She's
Oh,
different than Liz Taylor.
yeah.
Maybe sexier,
Yes.
beautiful, like
Oh,
seductively
her cheekbones
beautiful.
and her, just everything about Faye Dunaway.
Whew, Bonnie and Clyde. I mean, she just she was
Gorgeous.
a force of nature in that. And then, third on my list, I'm going to go with her, even though it's hard to justify epics, but
Yeah.
but Helen Mirren, and
Okay,
I must
had
admit,
Helen Mirren
okay,
coming into
all right,
mind, but then
I
I
must
let her
admit,
out.
I'm so into Mobland right
Yeah,
now, and she has taken over
Yeah.
this series.
So you have
which
you
is
have
Guy
Helen
Ritchie.
on the brain.
Well, I do
But
have
she
her on
also
the
was
brain.
in that 1923.
She was in 1923, and she was great. She just takes over everything.
Yeah.
And then for years we watched Prime Suspect.
I
which,
loved her from Prime
you know,
Suspect.
and again, it's TV,
Yeah,
it's
but she was
BBC,
incredible.
and so I don't know if that qualifies as,
Well,
as,
I
as
had
a
her
movie
too,
star.
but then I had
But
to
then
bounce her.
remember her movies: The Queen,
Yeah.
Gosford Park, which I loved,
Yeah.
then The Madness of King George.
That
I
was-
know these are all sort of Shakespearean type, but Hitchcock, which she
Yeah.
played Hitch's wife,
Yeah.
and she was sensational, and Golda Meir.
Meir. No, she's
okay,
incredible.
Hey, I don't know.
I love her too.
Okay, so I got her number 3.
Okay.
Number 4 is Kate Blanchett, and we've
Okay.
seen her
Tyler
recently.
loved, that was on Tyler's list, our producer.
Producer Tyler Korn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had her also,
Okay.
but I just
Okay. So Kate Blanchett did win the Academy Award for Blue Jasmine the Woody,
Yeah,
which you
that
thought
I
was
did not
depressing,
like
but she was not depressing
No, she
in
was
it. I mean, she was
fabulous.
just
And she's
fabulous.
beautiful.
The Aviator, she wins the Academy Award for playing an actress in Katharine Hepburn,
Right.
who won the Academy Award. So that worked. And then there was that recent Tar.
right.
And Don't Look Up, which we loved, which she
and then
took
we just
over.
saw her in that
Black Bag.
Bag,
Yes.
but then I loved her where she played Bob Dylan.
That I'm Not There.
Yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
didn't
that's a
love.
range.
It was huge range.
Played
I
Bob
didn't love
Dylan.
the movie
No,
itself,
but to play Bob Dylan
okay.
in character.
And I don't know
as
if you
Bob
remember
Dylan.
The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah,
And then Nightmare Alley. Remember that
Yeah.
she did?
God, yeah.
God, yes. And then Notes on a Scandal.
I mean, everything she's
okay.
done.
Okay, she's really gifted
Yeah.
with great range.
Yeah.
So she's 4th on
Okay,
my
she's
list.
good, all right.
And I agree, she is our neighbor. I just saw her at the gym yesterday. But Jane Fonda, she's
Iconic
she's a
legend.
Hollywood legend. And by the way, I see her in the gym. She looks like she's 42
Yeah, she looks.
or whatever. I
And the
don't know what
girl
she
that
is.
where I go to get my manicure, she does
Oh, yeah,
Jane's
yeah, yeah,
nails,
yeah,
and she
yeah.
told me yesterday. I went there to get a manicure, and she told me yesterday that she saw Jane on Friday before, and she said, the way Jane walks, she's just so straight, and she
is.
walks like a model because she started out as a model.
She did.
She has that grace and posture
Yeah.
at 86. Incredible.
She was with Ted Turner for a
I
long
know.
time.
Well, she's been with
And
a
she
lot
was
of.
a sex symbol in Barbarella when I was
God.
in high school.
She-
It was like go to the
She's
drive-in
gorgeous.
movies movie.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
When we met her here and I asked her where to take my dog that time when she was
Mm-hmm.
walking her dog, and I just went over to her and I said, hi, I live here. And she said, oh, and I said, where do you take your dog? And she said, oh, you should call Hollywood Groomers and tell them Jane and Barbara Streisand sent you.
Oh, wow.
And I said,
That's a
okay.
duo.
And I shook her hand, and she almost broke my hand because she has such a strong handshake. And I said to her, I'm from New York. And she goes, oh, like I couldn't tell from my accent.
Her father, Henry, Grapes of
incredible.
Wrath, Academy Award.
Her brother, Peter Fonda.
Peter.
Come on.
God. Bridget Fonda.
Bridget Fonda. They just have the touch of Hollywood
That's royalty.
royalty. Yeah.
Okay.